Our nation is in really, really bad shape. Although everybody thinks everything is fine. In honor of World Fool's Day, I'm going to read my 29-page picture book for all ages. Inside of the pictures will be QR codes for parents and adults that go to science websites that verify the truth of us having never gone to the moon. This is a story about whether or not the world gets free energy and cures of cancer and doubled life expectancy. It has to do with you understanding, being fooled. So here it is, free energy for we. It's time to believe. Originally, the Hoax of 69, but that's not very marketable. But somebody will buy a book about free energy. Page 1. Have you ever been fooled and the last to be told? It's not a very good feeling. Page 2. When you tell a lie once, there need to be more lies told to support it. Page 3. It's possible to get lost in an entirely made-up story and not realize it's wrong for a really long time if people you trust aren't honest. Page 4. How about a half-century lie that many today still believe is the truth? Page 5. What would you do in either situation? Telling the lie or believing it? Or both? Page 6. If the truth comes out, would you be relieved, angry, happy, disappointed? Page 7. Would you accept the truth if it were told and shared, or would you still hang on to old thinking? Page 8. Our identity is based off of what we believe. And some of us grasp firmly onto some ideas. Like Santa Claus when we were all younger. Page 9. Growing up is accepting the truth, even when it hurts a lot. Page 10. Denial or avoiding facts keeps all those involved stuck in time, frozen. This is what happened in 1969. Page 11. If you're a big NASA fan, you might want to plug your ears or fast forward the video a little bit. And I'm going to give 8 facts that are science related. And if you're going in with the idea already that you don't believe it, you're not going to believe it by the time I get done with page 11. So just skip forward. Fact 1. Our magnetosphere, the Van Allen belts, are supercharged with molecule-breaking waves. Fact 2. Rockets need oxygen to burn, like a candle and a flame. No oxygen, no fire. And there's no oxygen in space. It's a trapped gas inside our atmosphere. Fact 3. The rover in 1969 kicks up moon dust, but it falls at the same rate as it would on Earth. Fact 4. The moon has no rain, no clouds, and no atmosphere. Wouldn't it be really dusty? Fact 5. What's the temperature of space? It's negative 200 degrees. And that's much colder than rubber turning to glass, plastic cracking and snapping, and metal becoming brittle. Fact 6. Where's the gas tank to blast off from the moon and get back to Earth? Fact 7. Wouldn't a window on the capsule let dangerous waves from the sun into the cockpit? And fact 8. If they could see to get down a ladder, tell us how beautiful the moon looks and Earth looks from the moon, and hit golf balls, it means cosmic waves hit their eyeballs and a miracle of them not disintegrating happened. You see, the way that we see things is from light entering through our lens and into our cornea. So the fact that their eyes didn't disintegrate when they said they saw what they saw, a miracle happened, along with their skin, hair, ears, mouth, nose, teeth, and jawbone not disintegrating. Page 11 over, page 12. How smart do you think you are? On a sheet of paper, list 3 people who are smarter than you and 3 people you're smarter than. Page 13. Why did you just place limits on your own knowledge and assume what others know and don't know? Page 14. Just because you're not seated at a desk in a classroom and have a degree doesn't mean that you know it all. A degree is a mark of achievement. It's never a finish line. In other words, we can always learn more. Page 15. Any person, regardless of their education, can be the most intelligent person in a room. But people do a few things wrong when they have a conversation. There were 5. Most people don't listen when having a conversation. And if you ask them to repeat what you just said, many times they can't do it because they weren't paying attention. Fact 2. Most people decide ahead of time what they think. Fact 3. The reason that people decide ahead of time what they think is because of repetition and what they've been told. Fact 4. What your friends think can affect what you believe. And fact 5. Most people hold on to what they thought before, which means that they can't absorb new information or ideas or a different perspective. Page 16. We're all creatures of habit, and we do the same thing often. Here are some examples of that. What do you order on a pizza? What neighborhoods are you in? What friends do you hang out with? What's the route that you take to get to work every day? And do you have a favorite color? Those are all examples of repetition in your life. Page 17. Each of us is unique and made the way that we are only once in forever. Page 18. Living in autopilot mode is acceptable and expected today, especially in the United States. And life can become so easy or difficult that years and decades pass in the blink of an eye. Page 19. The best way to get the most out of the one time that you're here is to do 5 things. Be spontaneous. 2, take a chance. 3, follow your intuition, your gut. 4, appreciate the present, no matter how challenging it might seem at the time. And 5, this is a really important one. Every single person whose path you cross could teach you something, or you could teach them something. Page 20. Post-COVID, people can feel very awkward meeting for the first time, because right now we're scared of each other. But remember, you have something to share. Find out what it is. Page 21. Ironically, the first thing that comes to your mind when you're first meeting somebody is usually the thing that you're supposed to share. How many times in a conversation do you or the other person eventually say, I was going to tell you that, but we got talking about something else? Page 22. The more times you initiate a conversation, the easier it is to communicate with other people. Page 23. For all the press releases our government gives to the media, we should all be on the same page. But we're not. Why do you think that is? Page 24. On a sheet of paper, list 3 enemies you have and 3 people or groups who have made you an enemy, and write a reason next to each. Page 25. Now look at those reasons closely that you just listed and ask yourself, is this really worth a disagreement or argument? Page 26. It seems as humans, we make a big deal out of things that are really small. Page 27. Landing on the moon was a big deal. But do you believe? Page 28. Our homes, the moon, and Earth are so very near. Have you ever known a neighbor that you never met? And the last page. We far too often rely on what others say, and we can't tag along to learn fact from fiction. The end. There's going to be one very important page at the end, and it has to do with Bill Gates, the military, and Elon Musk. If you look at Google Maps or Google Earth, you will notice when you try to zoom in on continental shelf that's submerged outside of the range of the human eye, it's airbrushed. Now, the excuse given is that it's pixelation. But if you look closely, you can see waves on some of them, and then you can't see waves at all on another. So if they're the same distance, you should be able to see waves through the whole thing. Now, our Department of Interior has purchased an insane amount of submerged continental shelf. Why would they be interested in doing that? They, of course, would say, well, to protect our coastlines and to protect the wildlife and marine life. That's bullshit. The reason that they've purchased that is so that they could tell Bill Gates to airbrush it out. Now, Bill Gates now, if you look at a map of the United States, has large tracts of land for farming. So, the UFOs that are shot down are actually below us, trying to leave and return to the moon. Here's the thing. If you're a farmer, you're allowed to dig. And if you look closely at the map, you see the Pacific Ocean connected to the Great Lakes, down the Mississippi, and Florida to the Atlantic. Now, you'll see omitted the Appalachian Mountains. Okay, there are submerged alien bases right below our feet. So Bill Gates' farming gives him the right to dig for treasures that he's then going to keep from the rest of us. If the military is telling him to airbrush out parts of the continental shelf, just like they told India to say that they went to the moon, if you believe that that computer-generated Atari 2600 looking thing is up there, you're nuts. They've told us that the moon is warmer during the day than it is at night, so that they could justify having organic materials land somewhere where they've never gone. It's simply not true, because the Earth heats up during the day because of trapped gases. We have an atmosphere. There's no atmosphere on the moon. And if you think about it, just outside of our atmosphere, it's really damn cold. So, not having an atmosphere on the moon means that it's always cold. Which means we've never been. NASA has 12 professional liars, astronauts, who are obviously connected to the military in order to protect the stolen alien technology that they make weapons out of, but could also heal us, repair our environment, and do a lot of good. Hiding the truth and covering it up and telling stories is a wicked way to be. That's why my flag looks the way it does. Isn't it pretty? It's because it's the truth. We're tattered and torn. And we're missing some of our courage today, to be honest. People need to tell the truth. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Maybe they'll find another leak somewhere, and they'll delay it again. God, I hope so. Because with subliminal messaging being a patent of Google in television sets, everyone in the world's going to be glued to the television during the launch. I am scared as crap what those subliminal messages are. People have got to stop blindly trusting our government because they're not being honest with us. And I will continue to tell the truth of things. The difference between things changing doesn't have to do with me. It has to do with you and what you think and what you believe. Happy April 1st.